Hi, it's Joey Reynolds back in Florida, back on my porch. I wish I had a Porsche. Someone said, "Where's the Porsche you had?" And I said, "The porch." They said, "No, it's a Porsche." They said, "Where is it?" I said, "It's in the garage, is where it is." Anyway, I see where the foil is a sport now. The first gold medal for foiling was awarded to, I think an American Girl won that. Foiled again, huh? Good for tanning. Also good if you really want to wrap something. And this is a Reynolds wrap. Now, isn't that a natural for them to sponsor me? You would think. And the bird. The bird's ruining my life. Foil's not good for bird poop, believe me. So the deal here is that Jackie Mason is dead, and he is my friend who, for a long time ago, wouldn't be here if it weren't for Buffalo, New York, which is where I'm from and where I was an outlaw, like Imus was an outlaw, and Howard Stern, and even Jack Paar on television. All these people are outlaws. Jackie Mason gave the finger to Ed Sullivan when he had the #1 entertainment variety show on TV every Sunday night years ago. That was the only place where you would go and see great television. We only had 3 networks back then. I was an outlaw because I nailed my shoes to the door in Buffalo when I had an argument with Frank Gorshin and Forrest Tucker about being paid to do the telethon. The management fired me, so I nailed my shoes to the door of the manager and I said, "Fill these, you a-hole." And that guy, unfortunately, became the president of ABC years later. And I had a couple of years where nobody wanted to touch me, same as Jackie Mason. When he gave the finger to Ed Sullivan, it was highly unfashionable and nobody wanted to touch him. Except for Buffalo, a fella I went to school with and was on my TV crew every Saturday. I had a Saturday television show. His brother was the producer of Hollywood Palace, which was a big television show on network TV. Hollywood Palace was owned by Nick Vanoff, and he was also partners with David Pick, and they bought the old Columbia Picture Studio and rented it out to ABC Television for soap operas. But Nick Vanoff was so enthralled with Jackie Mason's comedy that he booked a theater on the Wilshire Boulevard in L.A. and did The World According to Jackie Mason. And it did very well. So they brought it to Broadway, and it still is the longest running one-man show in the history of Broadway theater. Even Bruce Springsteen has not been able to topple that record. Also, the West End, which is the theater district in London. I keep thinking I've got to explain a lot of these things because I want to have a broad understanding audience. Not that I want the biggest audience, I want the most understanding audience so that you at least know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, why am I doing this? So, back to the story. Jackie Mason got promoted by Nick Vanoff. Put on the stage, had a hit, then on Broadway a big hit, and he was off to the races. I became friends with him in mid-80s. I was on WNBC Radio on a Christmas. It's a a Christian holiday, and he's Jewish. So I invited him to come over and do the show, and he graciously did. He came over, and he was very funny, of course. I had him on in the afternoon, and then we went out and had Chinese food, which is what most Jews do on Christian holidays because all the Christian places are closed. So we went to a Peking duck place, and he made fun of the duck, which was hanging by his neck. He says, "I know what it feels like to be hanging by your neck for 20 years. That couldn't work." And so I did my impression of him based on Jacques Brel, who wrote, "If you go away, and I know you must," and I imitate Jackie Mason doing that. "If you go away, and I know you must, why don't you stay? You should stay here, because if you stay here, I'll be much better for you. But you go away, I know you must. I know you got to go, but you stay here. I'll take care of you." So anyway, that's my little Jackie Mason impression. I love the guy, and everybody thinks he's the funniest man on the planet. Still, the most provocative. He said about Trump. What did he say about Trump? He says, "All the guy wanted to do was build a wall." He says the most outrageous thing. Let him build a wall. That's all. All he wants is a wall. He fights everybody in the world. Let him build a wall. I love what Putin says today. Putin says that the hacking was done inside Russia, but he had nothing to do with it. See, Jackie would have loved that. Had nothing to do with it. I had nothing to do with it. What's it in Russia? Was he had nothing? Was he gone for the day? Did he go to another place? That's the kind of thing. Jackie Mason, I love you. You are in heaven with all the other great comics. I know you are, because you even made God laugh. It's a Reynolds wrap.